So this is the fourth episode in my series about Neapolitan songs. We started with love songs. We started by looking at Torna Sorrento, which is not just a love song, it's also very much about the love for Sorrento, the sort of Neapolitan region. We then looked at O Sole Mio, Funiculi Funicula, all of which are sang by a lot of classical singers and opera singers with an operatic feel. But I thought today I would like to look at Tammuriata Nera. I thought I'd provide you with a little bit of background to the song. Why? Now I have, in my collection of books and opera scores, I have two books of Neapolitan songs. One of them I have here with me, which I've looked at in the past weeks, is Neapolitan Songs, and it looks like that. The edition is Amsco Publications, and it has a mixture of Neapolitan songs and operatic arias from operas by Verdi and various. The other book I have, as it turns out, when we did we did a concert on Sicilian and Neapolitan songs, and I didn't get the book back from the pianist, but the cover looks like that. I've printed it out to show you because it is quite a popular one you can get online. It is Favorite Neapolitan Songs by Ricordi. Now, if like me you like to go with a publisher from the country of the language you are singing and studying, you'd go for the Ricordi version because you're more likely to have true songs that people would recognize as Neapolitan songs. It does contain things like O Sole Mio and Torna Sorrento that you would sing if you were an opera singer. And the arrangements are for voice and piano. So if you look at Tammuriata Nera, you might, like me, be a little bit confused at first because it's very difficult to sing as a classical piece. The reason being, it isn't. You also wouldn't normally have a piano accompaniment. Also, as a British person or an English-speaking person, or perhaps an Italian person who doesn't speak or understand Neapolitan, you might get the wrong end of the stick in a couple of ways. Because you can say, okay, let's look at the title, Tammuriata Nera. What does that mean? Tammuriata comes from the word tamburo or tamburo, which would be drum or tambourine. Tammuriata is a tambourine play. Nera means black. So we're talking about a black music. If you hear the melody, it sounds very Arabic. And I must admit, without looking into the meaning of the words, for a long time I assumed that it was a song that was called the Black Tambourine because it was inspired by the sort of Moorish influences in Italian culture. But when then considering it as part of a program, I had to look at the words and actually learn the song and look into it and consider whether it was appropriate or not. One of our musicians, who is English but has a wife from Naples, looking at the word, he said, oh, it comes across as a racist song. But then why is it in a Ricordi book that you can buy now? And it is also performed by artists who are very liberal and very eclectic in their style of music and in their travels and their audiences. And, well, as far as I know, not racist. So I thought, well, let's look into it. And I've done a bit of research here. That's why I thought it would be nice to have a little recording about it. I've spoken to several people, Italians and Neapolitans, and about how they interpret the song, what their feel and connections are with it. Also about the time that it was composed. So, Tammuriata Nera, text by Nicolardi, music by Mario. The song itself was written in the post-war time, sort of early 50s, I think, my feel is that it's a little bit satirical because it was sort of presented as part of, old Italian comedy type films that portrayed post-war Italy and showed the poor side of Italy, but also the love and richness of the Italian character. So what it says, you've got a voice that tells a story, and it says, well, some funny thing has happened. In a community that is considered to be predominantly white, a black child was born. And then what the song says, it says what people are saying. And then in the chorus, you've got the voice of the narrator that says, come on, let's be serious here. Let's look at things just the way they are. The child is black. It looks like his father. Go and find his father, you'll be a black man. In itself, there is nothing wrong with that. What the song actually criticizes is the fact that other women may put it down to witchcraft. And they claim that, if a black man looks at a black woman, there you go, she'll immediately get pregnant and you end up with a black child. Having spoken to friends who live in and around Naples, and I have friends of sort of that age and that time, I said actually what happened during the Second World War, we had English and American troops in Italy fighting either on our side or against, and a lot of the American and British troops were black. Some of those soldiers fell in love and they perhaps tried to remain. They might have fallen in love, had a fling and died, and therefore left fatherless children. In other cases, in a lot of cases, Italians were so hungry that a lot of the women sold themselves. They sold their company and favors, sometimes for the sake of feeding their own children. So, and very much the general feel, speaking to all Neapolitan and Italian people, is that black child was a child of love. Of love, it's a child who was loved and appreciated, not only as himself and the child of a mother, but also because in a time of war, it was made out of love. I say it, I don't know. We don't, simply because we didn't know if it was a boy or a girl. So let's say he. Let's say it was a boy. Actually no. Yeah, say that again. We know the name of the child, so it was a boy. So he was very much a child of love. Good. So then we're going to look at the words. I'll read it through. Io non capisco e vote che succede. E quello che se vede non se crede, non se crede. È nato uno creaturo nero nero, e a mamma o chiama giro, Sì signore, o chiama giro. Now what does that mean? Unbelievable. You know, something happened, a black child was born, and the mother called him Giro. Now what does this mean? This means, Giro is a typical Neapolitan name. It means the mother is Neapolitan. I'm given to understand that all the soldiers that came from abroad were all men. So the mother would have been a Neapolitan girl. Then the chorus says, se giro e vota se giro e vota se. Giro also in Italian means turn, spin. So that seems an odd thing, an odd choice. So the writer here is playing about with the word. You know, people can spin the tale as much as they like. Whether you call him Ciccio, Tuono, Peppe or Giro, the fact is the child is black. So the next thing is going to be, you know, who is he black like? And that is the character. I think the feeling from my English friend, he was saying, well, it says here is che nero come che. So it means, you know, is black like a thing. No, it's much more, he's black, but like who? You know, who is he like? So then we carry on to the next verse. O contano è con mare che sta a fare, sti fatte non sorrare, se ne contano a mirare, a migliare, that's what he says. E vote basta solo una guardata, e a femmina arrestata sotto a botta impressionata. So, the explanation here is, you know, women say, oh, we see this sort of thing all the time, because sometimes the woman just has a look at a man and, you know, in shock she ends up pregnant, you know, like the Immaculate Conception. There's also a lot of there is a lot of history of witchcraft blended into Neapolitan culture, tied together with deep Christianity. So you've got belief in magic in some way or other that could sort of influence what women say, but also it would have been seen as dangerous for a woman's reputation if she was pregnant whilst her husband or boyfriend was off fighting elsewhere, or perhaps dead, or if the girl had indeed no boyfriend. So there had to be an explanation. The women had to provide an explanation for the birth of this child. And then the chorus comes in again and it says, yeah, right, you know, se una guardata, se, you know, yes, just to look, because you don't get pregnant just by looking. So se una guardata, se un'impressione, se va trovammo mo che è stato, che ha cogliuto buono tiro, che l'ha fatta nera come che. So right, so you can't just get pregnant from a look. Go and find the father. You'll know it's going to be a black man. So perhaps hold him to account and he can come and support the child. Which again, in times of poverty, would have been a thing. That's my cooking time. Third verse. Additto parolano, e beh parlammo, perché si ragionammo che sto fatto ciò spiegammo. Addopa stine grano cresce, riesce o non riesce, è sempre grano che lo cresce. Right. I'm not too sure what parolano means. It means sort of the speaker. It says, the speaker said, well, come on, let's talk about it. Because if we think about it, it's a very simple situation to explain. Where pasta is made from wheat. Wheat is what grows. Whether you have a good harvest or a bad harvest, you're still going to end up with wheat, because that's what you're growing. This is what you're reaping. I'd like to think that what that's about is basically, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. He's Neapolitan. You know, he's a person, he's a child, he's a mother's child. Let's see if that carries through. So the last chorus is me, dillo a mamma, me. Right, so come tell your mum. Me, dillo pure a me. While you're at it, tell me as well. Cato chiamme ciccion tuono, cato chiamme Peppo Giro, che lo ninno è nero nero. Nero nero come che? So tell your mother, and while you're at it, tell me too. Whether you call him Ciccio Tuono or you call him Pepe or Giro, that child is black. Like who? Okay, so yes, it's an interesting song, I think, and it's up to you whether you decide to include it in what do you call it, in a recital. But if you're going to, please do provide a background, because the audience could just sort of think, oh yeah, great song, but what does it mean? Okay, I'm gonna give it a little go so you can hear it. Obviously I can't play the piano, so I'm gonna try and provide what the rhythm would be with my tambourine. Se gira volta se Cato chiammo Cicciantone, cato chiammo Peppa Giro, chi l'ha fatta nera 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 come te. Oh, contare con mare, che sta a fare, si fatta e non sa rare, se ne contano a migliaia. A volta basta solo ragguardare, la femmina arrestata sotto a botte impressionata. Se ne ha guardata, se non impressiona, se va trovando chi è stato che ha cogliuto buono tiro, che l'ha fatta nera 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 come che. Ha detto una parola, non me parliamo, perché se ragioniamo che sto fatto tu spieghiamo. A dopo stino grano cresce, riesce o non riesce, sempre grano che lo cresce. Me dillo mamma me dillo pure me, che tu chiama Cicciantone, che tu chiama Peppa Giro, che la nera nina nera nina nera come che. So ideally, if you are including this in a recital, you can using the recorded edition, you can have a piano accompaniment. What we did, based on the musicians we had available, we used the piano accompaniment, but accompanied with a tambourine. Not by me, thankfully. We had a percussionist playing the tambourine with that sort of beat. Traditionally, you would have a tambourine, you would have guitars, possibly what we call tablas, the sort of African drums, for want of a better word. You know, the sort of drum that is shaped a bit like that, and you can place between your legs and drum like that. So yeah, but I hope you enjoyed that. I think it is a lovely song in its own way, and it certainly depicts that North African influence to the Italian culture, the Italian people, the Italian community. So it is very important, especially as over the years, the Italian people, they're increasingly sort of homogeneous, and you'd recognize Italians as white people, when in truth, we have been influenced by people from all parts of the Mediterranean. There's a lot of North African, can't speak anymore, a lot of North African influence over the centuries, but also, of course, particularly during the wars, but certainly also over the centuries, through merchant engagements between Venice and Genoa, as they used to sail the silk line and the silk route and so on. You will have had people of every colour and race and language in Italy, and people fell in love and people settled down. So what you now recognise as the Italian look, it is very much based on that. You know, we have a very rich history, and it would be lovely if we all both learned it and also studied the various aspects and how it influences our present, but also how music has portrayed and reacted to times that have been. So I'd be interested to see what sort of comments this video gets. Please do comment, share, and do ask if you have any other songs that you would like me to look at, both to read the Italian or Neapolitan to help you with the pronunciation, or if there's a song that you perhaps would like to hear. I'll tell you what I didn't do this time. I didn't do the warm-up exercise. Well, I think in itself it is quite a light, quite nasal approach to singing. So just always start with your breathing exercises. I would be inclined to always aim for the soft palate, always raise the soft palate, but I'd be inclined to start with breathing in through the nose, for instance. And as you breathe in through the nose, flare the nostrils, fill your head with air, breathe into the top part of your lungs, and when singing, you want to raise your cheeks and aim the sound for the lower part of your mask, and just relax the back of the jaw, and relax your throat. You can always look at exercises from past videos. So I'll sing a little bit again, just to observe the style of singing that isn't operatic. Let's start on the singing. Io non capisco volte cosa c'è, è che lo che si vede non si crede, non si crede. So what I'm aiming for there is very much projecting through this part of my face, through my cheekbones and lower part of the nose and the top of my top teeth. Because it wants to be percussive, it wants to be the sort of stuff that you sing in the street without microphone, and the voice needs to be heard above percussion instruments. So what I would be inclined to do is try and hum it through first, so you can place the vibration and figure out where you're going to project from by practicing through the humming. So let's try that. So on a mouth open. So if you try that, you'll feel where the vibrations are pushing. Let's try one more time. So then you try and sing it. Then if you place it there, when you go into the lower register for the later part of the song, just keep that projection there and just relax. Really keep your neck nice and relaxed so that the voice can just smoothly go into the lower notes. So for instance, and then se giravota se giravota se gato chiama cicciantuone gato chiama Peppa Giro che le fatte niro con macche. So relax the jaw, create the vibration, and then you can project through the center part of your face. And last but not least, remember, Neapolitan music needs to be percussive. The tradition of Italian folk music is percussive. So you really make the most of the consonants. So, Catu chiama Peppa Giro, che l'ha fatta nero. Really use the double consonants in particular. So the M's, the N's, the P's, and the L's. The T's. Not so much the R. I know quite often English speakers really aim for the R's, and they would say nero. No, it doesn't need to be nero. It's nera. We know what that means. So focus on the percussive bits. Okay? Fantastic. I'll see you again next week. Bye.